Presentation of TFNN. Time to talk about your health. Living a primal lifestyle.
We have Mike from Chicago on the line, and he has a question about digestion.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
First of all, I just wanted to say that I love the show. I think it's great programming, and I'm very much of a like mind when it comes to, taking control of your own health and certainly doing your own research.
No, that's so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now your hosts, Nico De Haan and Paige Clarke.
Happy Friday, everybody. It's a beautiful day here in downtown Clearwater. In fact, it's 84 degrees and mostly sunny, so come on down to Florida.
Nice place to be.
Yeah, it's a great place to be for sure. Our number here, folks, is 877-927-6648 if you'd like to join the conversation. We'll be talking a little bit about hormones today, and I don't know a lot about it, but Paige is our expert here, and she's going to really fill us in on this. I'd like to remind you to pick up the Health Signals newsletter. The issue is out, and I'm building a resource page in it. So far, I've got some stuff that I use in there, from vendors that I use. I also have some products in there that I use. And then I've got some books that I've read on the paleo diet and lifestyle and things along those lines.
I think that's going to be great because we're constantly talking about things that we like or recommend and to our clients. And so we want to make it easier for you to just click and have access to those things.
Also, personally, I've had a little problem with my thumb. During skiing, I bent it back.
Yeah.
And when the swelling went down, I noticed there was a little problem area in this area.
Didn't you have an MRI last week after the show?
Yeah, I had an MRI, and I went and saw the doctor yesterday, in fact, and he said there was a torn ligament in there. It was actually torn and retracted, so it was something that's not laying in the right spot, so we're going to have to go in there and pin it down.
Oh.
So Wednesday I'm going in.
Oh. Okay.
Wednesday for surgery, so I have the day off. My wife is going to drive me to the outpatient clinic and get it done, and I'll be back.
And then you'll be back in the saddle.
But yeah, it's just a one-day thing, so it's an easy thing. And it's nice to know that finally, exactly what's going on with it. I'm still able to do things. It's amazing. Like in jiu-jitsu, we don't use the thumbs. So we're always hiding the thumbs. So I can actually tape this thing back, and it does...
But you're going to be out of jiu-jitsu for a little bit while it's
probably,
healing, right?
Probably maybe a week.
Okay.
Maybe it's hard to tell. It depends if they have to put a pin in it or he can just suture it up. So those are the two options, he said. But I've got a great doctor, Dr. Marcotte here.
Okay.
Fantastic doctor.
Well, good.
And he'll take care of me. So, bang, that's the way it is.
Well, what we want to talk about today a little bit is how to balance your hormones without hormones, the argument of restoring versus replacing. And people that are in our age range, and actually, unfortunately, people that are a lot younger than us are already jumping on the bandwagon of replacing their hormones. And I always use the analogy that, if you broke your arm, I might agree that you need to put a cast on it, but I wouldn't ask you to keep the cast on it forever. What would happen to your arm if you left the cast on?
Right.
It'd probably atrophy, your skin would get gooky, and the muscle would atrophy.
And restrict your motion and all the other things that go along with it.
There could be times when some replacement to kind of restore to a level for a short period of time. But what we really want to do is re-educate our own bodies how to make the hormones that we were designed to do, because the body was designed to do it. And most of the hormone imbalance that we're seeing today is a result of just the typical toxicity that we see. We have too much of things we don't need. We don't have enough of what we do need, and we have an inability to detoxify and get rid of those things.
Well, let me ask you a question. When did when did we really start looking at hormones and noticing that we needed these things? I think in the beginning it was mostly with women. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, what happened is the industry really sort of built on women's symptoms and realized that some estrogen therapy could help alleviate some of these symptoms, hot flashes, and some of the things.
Yeah, when did that come about? What's the history behind that? Do you have any idea?
Off the top of my head, actually, I don't know, but I probably should. I would say probably in the 50s or 60s, we started seeing women's hormones, the birth control pill. They saw some of the symptom relief. But as we know now, or at least I believe, and again, whenever I share something with you, we all have a right to find out what resonates with us and what we feel to be the truth. And there's people that agree with me and people that don't. But I'm pretty confident that estrogen is more or less a stress hormone, kind of based on the work of a man named Hans Seeley. And the true female hormone is progesterone. The true male hormone is testosterone.
Right.
And I always say, if you look at a lot of older men become women, and the older women become men. Think about how they look, hormonally imbalanced. Think about how they feel. Men start to get cold at night, and women start to get hot at night.
It helps with the whole gay rights issues and everything like that, too.
Well.
You kind of switch over. You say, hey, wait a minute, I'm okay with it now.
But, really what I'm trying to get you to think about is that, why are our hormones not working? Why are we getting this endocrine disruption? And we talk a lot about the thyroid and then, other members of the endocrine system, the pituitary. Really, we want to kind of keep that quiet when these levels of such endocrine, anterior pituitary hormones like TSH, which is the measure of thyroid, luteinizing hormone. When these levels are elevated, it's basically saying the glands aren't doing what they're supposed to do, and the pituitary is having to come in and start running the show.
So what? One thing I noticed in the stuff that I'm reading is that it seems like we're getting into a younger age group each time with these hormones.
Exactly, and that's one of my concerns. And what I see is people are coming in, and they're getting these blood tests. They're using blood tests, and the people are saying, "Wow, you're low on all of these hormones." And I was a victim of that in my early 40s. I thought, "Oh my gosh, I'm just shutting down, and I need these anti-aging hormones." And as a result of a blood test, I feel now that the doctor put me on hormones, including estrogen, at a higher rate. That resulted in hyperpigmentation and estrogen dominance. And that's really inspired me to figure out, if I'm not making hormones, why am I not making hormones? And how do I reactivate my body I want to restore function, not replace. So that's what I do a lot in my consulting practice. I try and educate people on how to restore.
So the first test is a blood test then?
I use saliva tests. And there's some arguments on what if what's floating around the blood does not really indicate what's going on in the cell. So I use a saliva test. Because
you want to be told what it's being used and what's not being used.
See what the levels are in the cell and correlate it with other. I actually use a very specialized saliva test that's based on chronobiology. And we not only measure the hormone levels, but we measure another hormone called cortisol, which many of you know as the stress hormone. And chronobiology is based on 5-element Chinese theory that every organ, gland, and meridian are connected, and cortisol levels that are elevated or out of range will indicate which organ glands are not working properly.
Okay.
And we balance the cortisol levels, the hormones come into balance. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, that's magnificent.
And I use homeopathics to re-educate your body how to make the hormones you're supposed to make. And the protocol that I use, the doctor that really developed it, she's had 20,000 saliva tests successes showing that hormones come into normal range. I also what's nice about that is there are a lot of people that are experiencing symptoms. They go to bioidentical doctors and they, based on standard of care, if there's cancer in their family, say, well, I really can't help you even with bioidenticals. It's against that. And it works for people that have had cancer or hysterectomies and that kind of a thing.
Cool. So if these hormones are, the different things going on with your body and you're either overproducing a hormone or underproducing a hormone, what's the cause of this stuff?
Well, a lot of it's the organ gland dysfunction. And you just mentioned it. If you're over or underproducing, and believe me, there's a lot of overproducing of hormones, particularly in people that have supplemented. So that's what I love about homeopathy, because homeopathy helps you to, it's safe and non-toxic, and it will help your body. If you have too much, it'll help you figure out how to get rid of it. If you don't have enough, it'll help encourage and re-educate your body to make it. But when we come back to where are these hormones being done, I think you all have heard us talk about thyroid. And a lot of people think that thyroid hormone is made in the thyroid gland, and that's not actually really
It's regulated,
true.
Perhaps.
Regulated. Again, if it's not working well, then the pituitary gets involved and starts raising the TSH level, sends out hormone messengers. But probably a lot of you remember that most of the conversion of the thyroid hormone from the storage version to the active form, T3, happens in the liver. So we come back to the organ gland. if the liver and the gallbladder, its partner, are not functioning well, then we're not going to have good hormone conjugation, whether making the ones that we need or getting rid of the ones that we don't. You know, I mentioned estrogen in general, and you guys have probably heard us talk about Ray Peat. You know, we learn a lot from Ray Peat's articles that estrogen is a stress hormone. And if you sort of think about it, when an estrogen surges in women, it's when childbirth is potentially an option, right?
Right.
So maybe the estrogen is all designed to help our beings survive this stressful situation.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And
through the whole birthing process, especially when...
But the real problem we're having in hormone balance is we are bombarded with estrogen substances that are not part of the normal estrogen.
From our environment and our food.
Yeah, from the environment and the food, the chemicals, the plastics. And, you know, this estrogen dominance is just a horrible situation, and yet that's what concerns me. I've got young women in their 30s going to get blood tests from the anti-aging doctors, and they're saying, oh, you don't have any estrogen, and they're putting them on the estrogen, and they are doing things right by balancing the estrogen with progesterone, you know, in the bioidentical world. But still, the question is, why would we need estrogen? Let's re-educate our body. Let's help detoxify ourselves of the dangerous estrogens, and we can go from there. So anyways, the system that I use is effective for both men and women.
Very cool.
And very successful. I have been very happy and used myself as my own guinea pig, and I watched my toxic estrogen levels, which puts you know, when we think of estrogen, we think of proliferation, growth, and, you know, you think of estrogen as growing a baby, growing a tumor, possibly, you know, I mean, so we really want to help our bodies get to proper levels of that.
One of the things, too, that I think that really relates to this program in the hormones is, you know, because it's very confusing to me, all these hormones. I know they're produced for certain organs and by certain organs, and they regulate a lot of different functions in our body. But one of the things that we talk about is the purity of the type of diet that we're on. So right away, we're eliminating a lot of these toxins that will cause these problems in the first place, or help you, you know, kind of self-regulate. So you don't have to, a lot of times, if you're not in a deep problem to begin with, then by just switching your diet to the type of diet that we're talking about, or at least investigating and getting your feet wet into it, is that you're going to not have these problems later on in life as things go on.
Exactly.
Because, you know, it's bad enough that we have things in our environment that maybe we can't do as much about because of the air quality or water quality and things like that. But water quality, at least you can do something about it in your own home. You can, you know, get the filters and drink decent water.
But the food choices, it comes back to the food, guys.
It really does come back to that. So I think that's the basis for why we're talking about this, I think, too. Okay, folks, the number here is 877-927-6648. Pick up my Health Signals newsletter during the break, and you're good to go. And I got a new one coming out next week, folks, and it's going to be jammed full of stuff you need to know to keep you healthy, wealthy, and wise. So Paige Clarke, Nico De Haan, we'll be right back with Living a Primal Lifestyle.
You've heard Nico De Haan as co-host of Living a Primal Lifestyle, which airs every Friday at noon Eastern Time on TFNN, and would like to tell you about the personal training studio that Nico is the owner and president of, Performance Training. Since 1998, Nico has trained individuals and groups to improve their health both mentally and physically. As a certified personal trainer, Nico's main focus is on demonstrating exercises correctly to avoid injury and teaching his clients how to manage their past injuries while getting the most out of their personal training sessions. The Performance Training Studio is filled with unique training equipment that enhances balanced results at a faster rate while minimizing damage and discomfort. For more information, you can give Nico a call at 727-418-8740 or email him at nico@tfnn.com. Let him know you heard him on TFNN and save up to $100 on a special package just for TFNN listeners. Act today. You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at directionshares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Let me tell you something, folks. I have people coming up to me saying, I just can't believe the amount of work that Steve does on his newsletter. And I says, I absolutely agree.
That is a recent clip from the Money Masters show that Tom and I do each day at TFNN. My newsletter service, Mastering Probability, is much, much more than a newsletter. Yes, it's outperformed the S&P 500 by 100% during the last 15 months. But more importantly, it's an extraordinary education, a roadmap for your success. And it's yours risk-free for the next 30 days. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, and then Mastering Probability, because everyone needs a success strategy. For most, it's a competitive edge, the will to win, the drive to overcome any obstacle. Whatever you call it, winners find a way. Find your way to Mastering Probability today, because your journey to extraordinary rewards is just one click away.
Who says you can't take it with you? TFNN says you can. With your mobile device and TFNN's live radio streams, TFNN has put it all in the palm of your hands. No special apps to download. No subscription fees for live radio or Tiger TV streams. We say you can.
Now let's go over to the dollar, because the dollar is going to be the generator. It is the generator of basically higher dollar, lower market. And what the dollar has done, and this whole uptrend, folks, has just gone sideways. The way it works, folks, is this.
We say you can. The Tiger Financial News Network. Smart investors and professional traders know you can. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Nico and Paige take your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Nico here and Paige Clarke. We're here to answer your questions and comments. And the number here is 877-927-6648. And please pick up my Health Signals newsletter so you can stay informed on what the heck we're doing out here. Marshall in the chat room was asking about Ken Burge, who has a site called Paleo Burn. And I've never looked at his site particularly. I've just scanned over it a little bit. But the good thing is there's a lot of people out here that are doing the paleo or primal or a combination of the two. And we all have our little differences, and we all have our similarities. We're really basically trying to find the answer to this. What really is a better diet for us to be on that's, not only economical but easy to follow, and we want it to be as healthy as possible. And it comes down a lot, Paige, to eliminating things rather than finding the secret thing here and there.
I totally agree. It's and where there may be some people that have one thing they allow or they don't.
Yeah.
The real key is overlying tone is let's stay away from these processed, packaged, boxed and bagged, toxic, artificial, or modified foods. And when we think like that, then
it's not rocket science. I mean, it's not. It shouldn't be a hard thing to do. The hard part might be trying to get your brain wrapped around it because of all the propaganda from the past, 30 to 50 years of vilifying fat and talking about what kind of things that we should be eating and shouldn't be eating, and whole grain and all these nonsense things. When it really comes down to it, that 500 years ago, or even 1,000 years ago, or as little as 150 years ago, in a lot of places, that we were eating completely different than we're eating now.
And it's really funny because we're talking about really tiny differences and things, but my philosophy is really a combination of some things that are kind of on opposite sides, some of them.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of my food-based healing protocols are inspired by my Qigong teacher and Chinese medicine. And 80% of everything that we say we agree on. About 80%. There's 20% of it. You all know that I don't think dairy is a bad food. I think it's a superfood, but it's not like you need to drink tons of it.
Yeah.
And it should be raw. I don't really recommend
We should have the
processed dairy.
availability, at least the choice of it. That's, I don't need the government telling me what's good and what's not.
Exactly.
If I don't know that part, I'm not going to live too long.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Basically, we need to do this on our own.
And even though I support dairy in some cases, it's part of my food elimination because a lot of people love it, and if they're drinking the raw, I don't think you're going to see the issues with raw dairy, but it's a part of my elimination plans when I'm trying to figure out what's going on.
I don't use much of it. I have a little cheese, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But,
And I don't a lot, but what I want people to understand, again, we want to stay away from the processed foods.
Yeah.
So it looked like his stuff was good.
Yeah, I think so, and I'll look at it more. And there's hundreds of sites. That's the beautiful part. That's the part that I really get excited about when I'm doing research. I see so many other people out there doing the same darn things, and we're all coming to this similar conclusion. And I think that's very important for me because that really gives me a base that I know I'm on the right track, besides, of course, how great I feel and how quickly I recover from things, and that I'm still able to do things that I never thought I would do at my age, and only because I ventured out and tried them. So, and that's what we encourage you to do, too. Venture out of your comfort zone, whether it's for exercise or for eating or for just changing your whole darn lifestyle and say, I'm sick and tired of it. They've told me long enough what to do. There's enough stupid commercials. Turn off the TV for a few days.
Right. Decide you're going to find the truth. And the truth for you might be slightly different than what's the truth for Nico or for me.
Yeah. I mean, all of these sites, though, are saying the same thing. Marshall just said that he highly recommends omega-3s. And we do all, I think it's the proportion that there might be an argument
source.
over there.
Yeah, or the source.
Yeah.
And like Marshall says, he highly recommends omega-3s. So do we. Guess what? Omega-3s in grass-fed beef is second to none.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ways of getting it naturally where you don't have to pump it up as much. One thing, my wife went to a new doctor.
Right.
And she's a paleo doctor. So
this is what we're seeing more and more.
So one of the things she mentioned was that she wanted Ellen to double her dose of omega-3s. And I think why is because she has so much trouble with some of the other oils.
Right.
So she doubled her dose, and she said instantly she felt a difference.
She probably wants to help with lowering the inflammation, which we might touch on.
Yes.
Which inflammation could be in the gut lining, which might be affecting why she has trouble with the digestion of the fats.
Yeah, so that's really cool.
It's nice to see some of these mainstream doctors starting to admit that they follow a paleo lifestyle. I was on a website, I can't remember whose, and he was a doctor, and really he's not about nutrition. He does another type of medicine, and he just happened to mention in his little bio that he follows a paleo lifestyle, and I mean it's getting to be a good thing to admit that you've learned about it.
There's actually a registry now available, and that's how I got this doctor, and I got it like about 6 months ago. I was looking through different things, and I found this list of paleo doctors throughout the United States, and I had just Googled paleo doctor, and the list has changed now, and most of them are chiropractors, but you'll find an odd one in there, like I did, that is a family practitioner, so it's really good. Okay, folks, we'll be right back. Number here is 877-927-6648, and we'll be on again. Coffee time.
TFNN is excited to launch our brand new software charting program, The Art of the Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind software, Art of the Charts allows you to scan for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, butterflies, ABCs, and much more. Art of the Charts is designed to help you when scouring the market for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, and even months searching to find. As part of our introductory pricing, we're offering licenses available at only $59 per month. We're so confident that you'll love this new outstanding piece of charting software that we'll even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Lock in your low price today by ordering your copy at TFNN.com. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's Nadex.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
Recently, Basil Chapman has had some outstanding trades in his newsletter, The Opening Call. Each morning by 9 a.m., Basil uploads his newsletter to the TFNN servers so that his subscribers can access his expert trading advice. Basil gives his take on the direction of key indices and updates any active trades that his subscribers are currently in. Just recently, Basil's subscribers closed out a short position in Chipotle Mexican Grill, CMG, for more than an $86 profit per share, over a 20% gain in just one position. If you'd like to try out Basil Chapman's newsletter, The Opening Call, then visit the front page at TFNN.com and click Trading Newsletters. There you'll find Basil's newsletter, The Opening Call, where you can request a free sample copy. Also, don't miss Basil's program, The Tiger Technicians Hour, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, on TFNN.
Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, gives you Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. With Market Insights, nothing is left to guessing. With the market at record levels, volatility is here, and now is a perfect time to take advantage of a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights. As recently as March 26th, Tom advised his subscribers to liquidate their 4 short-term equity holdings, closing out all 4 positions for a combined 15.9% profit, and on April 1st, Tom advised his clients to sell their longer-term position in AIG warrants, locking in more than a 40% profit in just that one trade. If you'd like to see the kind of newsletter Tom O'Brien sends out to his subscribers each morning, then sign up for your 2-week free trial to Market Insights today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by BackTech Environmental. For more information, just click the BackTech banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Well, welcome back to the show, folks. Nico here and Paige on Living a Primal Lifestyle, and we're waiting for your calls, folks. It's 877-927-6648.
Hey, real quick, I just want to make a little comment. When we were talking about using a site, people were asking about how do you find a primal doctor. We posted on the chat room, primaldocs.com, I think was the site. But I was thinking about it. How nice is it if you pick a doctor that has a primal paleo orientation? Yeah. Because otherwise you're going to your doctor and he's saying, stay away from saturated fats, So, eat whole grains and vegetables. I mean, the traditional doctor orientation is completely different. So you get half the battle done. Because remember, guys, your doctor is part of your healing team. They're not the boss of you. Yeah. You're the boss of you.
One of the things that this doctor told my wife is one of her goals is always to take the patient off medications, traditional medications.
All medications stop an enzyme reaction.
Blood pressure and Prilosec, stuff like for your stomach linings and all this stuff.
We can rebuild stomach lining with salt. We can lower blood pressure with olive leaf extract. So. Exactly. Yeah.
So the number here is 877-927-6648. Please pick up the Health Signals newsletter and, try some of the recipes in there, folks. I'd like to hear your
feedback.
Yeah, your feedback on it. And any suggestions that you have, of course, you can send it our way. I had one of my clients, and we were talking about deodorants and stuff like that. I had told her to get off the traditional deodorant and try the salt stick that I did. And she was remarked, I had a couple bruises on me, and she said, what do you use for your bruises? Because I noticed they go away fast. And I said, well, I just use this vitamin K cream that my wife had given me. And she came up with this. She says, I use this magnesium spray. And she says, that really helps me. But she says, I noticed it too. She says, I tried it as a deodorant. You know, just spraying my underarm. She says it works better than a salt stick for me. She says, so I says, there's another other alternative. I says, how cool is that? So I didn't know that magnesium came in like transdermal. Is
the best way to get magnesium. And wouldn't put the magnesium underneath your armpits if you just shave, though. You know, right after shaving, it stings a little bit, but
I haven't shaved those in days.
No, transdermal magnesium is, you know, we always talk about it. If you wouldn't put it on your skin, if you wouldn't eat it, don't put it on your skin.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're doing. You're eating it.
Yeah.
And the best way, we get our best absorption because it doesn't go through the digestive system. As you know, magnesium can cause loose bowels. So, you know, even some very powerful versions of magnesium citrate and so forth, you know, may cause some bowel intolerance. I like magnesium glycinate for an oral version, but the very best way is to transdermal. And, you know, we talk about the bath, the Epsom salt bath, magnesium sulfate.
Okay. Makes sense.
Magnesium chloride flakes are the best, and the spray based on that. So it's a great source for, you know, if you ever in an emergency situation, you know, emergency medicine at the best is what we should all be paying attention to. When you go to an emergency room, one of the first things they do is give you sodium, salts, magnesium. And in reality, you know, the whole calcium, magnesium thing, you know, really I recommend people, if you want to build bones, do not supplement calcium in a supplement form. Magnesium is what we need, and we need vitamin, you know. I don't want to get I'm not talking about bones right now, so I won't go into it, but we're talking about why we want to have good magnesium reserves. It is truly a mineral that we are deficient in, primarily because we've had a history of white stuff, flours, and
our
refined.
body doesn't make it either. Do we usually get it just from the environment? Is that how naturally we would get it?
We would get it from our greens. Magnesium is high in our greens. But what we really want to do is be aware that we have a deficiency in this society because we've eaten so many processed foods. Again, magnesium is deficient, and we become deficient as a result of processed foods. And many chronic illnesses, guys, can be turned around with magnesium therapy. So a great thing to do would be to look at a transdermal magnesium product, and taking baths, Epsom salt baths a couple times a week, or magnesium chloride bath flakes.
So there's most of the symptoms of lacking magnesium, having a deficiency in magnesium. What are they related to as far as some of those conditions?
Well, you know, a lot of people have a hard time sleeping. Magnesium deficiency is that, you know, if you're having a hard time sleeping, magnesium could really be helpful in helping you to relax. Heart palpitations, racy heart. You know, if you start to feel that, start taking some magnesium. It can help with constipation, as I mentioned earlier. Here's some things. Here's a little list of some things that you can use to treat the magnesium treats. Really, it addresses a systemic nutritional deficiency, and it is probably one of the minerals we are most deficient in. It improves the function of all of our cells and immune system and helps with the cell regulation. It helps to protect from oxidative stress because, as you know, we have very little vitamin deficiencies. We can make most of our vitamins, but we can't make the minerals. And minerals like iodine, magnesium, and selenium are just key in health. You're going to feel increased energy levels. It helps people to sleep. As I mentioned, it lowers blood pressure. It's usually a part of some of my whole food protocols for lowering blood pressure. I mentioned olive leaf extract. That's very evidence-based for lowering blood pressure. Helps with sports performance, alleviates pain.
Endurance,
People that are having pain, chronic fatigue, muscle aches, sports people. It really helps your red blood cells increase their oxygen carrying capacity.
So it'll help repair things in your body.
Improves your digestion, lowers your blood sugar levels, helps skin, hair, and nails because it's a mineral. So again, really the best way to absorb magnesium is transdermal. If you're going to take an oral form, my favorite one is magnesium glycinate because it's a little easier on the bowels. The bottom line is just get some magnesium and start seeing the difference.
Magnesium chloride?
Magnesium chloride is a preferred form, and it's, you know, transdermally. You can buy the flakes. You know, like I said, just keep in mind that many people see reversal in some of their issues, and many times it's a magnesium deficiency.
Hydrotherapy, it draws toxins from the tissues. Replenishes the vital fluid of the cells, increases circulation, like you said, alleviates pains, calms the nervous system, and relaxes skeletal muscles.
And this was kind of talking about using the Epsom salt bath, which is a very cost-effective way. Go to your, your drugstore. I buy, when Walgreens has the, 2 bags for $10. I buy that, and I put a big, almost a cup in there. And you want to soak for 30 minutes. So it really is actually chloride, and that's why we like the magnesium chloride. Is an essential mineral.
Right.
And chloride, remember sodium chloride, is a chloride that helps us make our hydrochloric acid for our stomach. So that's why a lot of times I use healthy salt to help rebuild stomach acid. So you're getting a good source of chloride through your magnesium chloride.
So what about the iodine thing that we were... did we have a question about that?
Yeah. We had one of our listeners, Rocco, sent us a question about iodine and what do we think about iodine. I know we've talked about iodine, and this is another perfect example of where we want to put information out there for you. We can tell you what we're doing and what we think, but I want to give you some sources that can help educate you on iodine. Iodine is a mineral that I think is critical for health. What we do know is that all organs and glands that secrete something get cancer, and all of those organs and gland systems are concentrators of iodine. Isn't that kind of interesting when you think about it? Ovaries, uterus, thyroid, lungs. So we are suffering iodine deficiencies in this country primarily because there are other minerals in the periodic table, or elements in the periodic table, that take up iodine's spot. And those are bromine, chlorine, and fluoride.
So they're related?
If you go look at your old 10th grade chemistry periodic table, you'll see that they're in the same family. And the best way I can explain it is that when they're above the element, they're bullies. Just think of it that way. They will displace the element below it. So from my memory, it goes astazine, iodine, bromine, chlorine, fluoride. Or those two could be switched up. So I think you can just sort of figure out what's going on. We fluoridate, we chlorinate our food and our water and our foods, and then our foods, our processed foods, are using these fluoridated waters, so we get into problems. So the question really is that I want to give you a resource. Probably one of the most extensive works on iodine for your health is a website called iodine4health.com. And that is a compilation of the research by some famous different MDs that are kind of referred to as the iodine doctors. And in a nutshell, they believe that we need to approach the Japanese level of iodine, which equates to 12.5 milligrams a day.
Wow.
But because we see so much iodine deficiency related to diseases such as cancer, many times a protocol will be to ingest 50 milligrams to flush out the receptors that are being occupied by those other elements that interfere. And
this is kind of happening with all these different chemicals and minerals that we're talking about. The reason that we're deficient in a lot of these things is because the environmental bombardment.
The imposters.
Yeah,
the imposters.
Yeah.
Same thing. We call the words xenoestrogens. They get in and act like estrogen in the body. These other elements take over, and like I try to explain, maybe you guys can visualize this. The reason that I think the TSH test for thyroid can be so misleading and not correlate with the symptoms the person's having is if you imagine the T4 thyroid storage hormone is tyrosine, an amino acid with 4 parking spaces, and what's supposed to be there is iodine. And then you make your active form by cleaving off one, and that's T3. So get it? T4, T3. Well, what happens is we've got these other imposters floating around, the chlorine and the fluoride, and they're parking in the spot. So when they do a TSH test, it shows up that you've got these molecules, but they're imposter.
Yeah.
So we want to get the iodine.
And the whole thing, to tie this whole thing together when we're talking about iodine or magnesium or any kind of thing in our body that's going on, is that there are things that are interfering in our modern day with the food we're taking, and because of the pollution. The simplest way to clear your head to the whole thing, if you're not having a real problem in any of these things, is start getting a good diet,
right.
a good exercise program together, so everything will be balanced in your body. You won't have to worry about these things.
Get more of what you need, get rid of the things you don't, and
Right.
help your body get rid of them, because that's the big thing.
And simplify your life with good, clean food, the type of food that we always talk about on this program. And then if you want to add a few things into that, like supplements, to help you get rid of some of these toxins that you may have, and these are things that you have to find out. There's certain tests that you have to do. One of the tests my doctor says is the particle test. She says, all of a sudden my wife says, yeah, I know what that is, the particle test for my blood, for the HDLs and the LDLs, and show the difference between
You can't really get any information. That's what's going on. We're doing so much screening testing that really doesn't tell you. And, most people, they're primary care doctors because of their health plans, whatever, they only order the TSH. They don't order the full iodine. And that's the other thing I want to say, and I mentioned, with the iodine, or with the thyroid test, you want to make sure that you're getting the full, looking at your active free T3, T4, you want to look for the antibodies, because we have so much Hashimoto's, gluten sensitivity aggravates that if you do start supplementing with iodine, which is going to help boost the T4 storage part, if you can't convert, which you need the selenium and the vitamin A, and protein to make thyroid hormone, then you could get into trouble, and then you start having racy feelings, and you're not feeling good, and you're having some symptoms of iodine overdose. So again, it's about looking at the whole picture. Just from the standpoint, I do tend to believe that the iodine doctors are on target. I do want to tell you, like Dr. Mercola, Mercola.com, you can search his website, and he'll talk about iodine. He's a little more cautious and tends to feel like, yes, these iodine doctors are right on target. Yeah. But maybe I don't support yet that high a dose. I use I use two forms. I use a form that the iodine doctors recommend, which is a potassium iodide and iodine, but I also use some ionic forms.
Has some good information too on her site is Nora Gagalis.
Okay.
Primal Body, Primal Mind.
She does on iodine.
Yeah, she has a whole dissertation on iodine and the different tests that she does with her patients. So there is information out there. And
I want to mention somebody else because it just popped in. Dr. Mark Circus. Sircus, OMD. He lives in Brazil, and he's a prolific writer and teacher, and he has great books on what I call, he's got a whole procedure called allopathic medicine. I kind of think one day I'm going to go down there and study with him. But he talks about the lifesavers, sodium, and he's really kind of our whole thing. We need to take care of.
I love to go to Brazil.
Yeah, sodium bicarbonate, baking soda, iodine, selenium, and salts, and magnesium. So you can go buy his books and his extensive research. I really highly recommend him. You can connect with him on Facebook or Google his site. It's International Medical Veritas, meaning Truth Association, IMVA. Mark Circus. He's an expert on all of these things we're just talking about.
Yeah. Angie says, can you type that in the den?
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
On the break.
Yep. And that's coming up shortly. So anything else about these minerals and these iodine and the...
Well, I kind of just want people to understand that really a lot of times most of what's going on is a mineral deficiency, and that I'd prefer to see people getting things from their foods, which we do. We've talked about nuts and PUFAs and the concern about polyunsaturated fats, but soaking a few Brazil nuts, 1 to 2 Brazil nuts a day gives you a nice dose of selenium. Huh. So there's a lot of great research.
Another reason I like Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil and Brazil Nuts, Dr. Circus, I'll put his name in there. I really love his work. He's a very passionate guy, very different personality. But we'll put it in the chat room for those of you listening.
We'll be right back, folks. 877-927-6648, and time to pick up my newsletter right now. Push the button.
Tom O'Brien's weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, has helped subscribers for over 10 years navigate the high-risk world of exploring and producing gold companies. And now's a great time to sign up for a free month-long trial to see the kind of insight that Tom delivers for his subscribers on a weekly basis. Every Monday, Tom O'Brien issues a quick update on the metal market, giving you his take on the HUI, XAU, GLD, dollar, bonds, and much more. Tom follows Monday's update with a full gold report, which is delivered to subscribers Tuesday afternoon with detailed coverage of 24 separate gold or metal stocks, as well as another 10 to 15 stocks that he lets you know are on his potential watch list. Get your month-long free trial to the Gold Report today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Don't spend another year navigating the metal markets on your own. Act early in 2013 and make the most of your gold and metal market investments.
With the launch of Tiger TV, TFNN has brought our programming to the next level. With Tiger TV, you can gain access to each host's charts and computer screens as they host their daily stock program. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, David White, Larry Pesavento, Andy Hecht, Victor Jones, or Daryl Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV for your viewing pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't checked out Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com and see what you're missing.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows, and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to TFNN.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
Welcome back to the show, folks. Nico here and Paige on Living a Primal Lifestyle. You know, Paige, I was running across this interesting article. It's called Are We the Last Generation of Wild Humans? It's on Green Med Info.
That's
it's
a great
blog.
site.
Yeah, it's a good site. It gives you a lot of things, but this was really cool. It starts off saying, could side effects from food additives and water fluorination and GMOs and tainted air and excessive vaccines cause people to become mediocre and lose their critical thinking abilities? And it goes on talking about, of course, the pollution in our society and what we really have to put up with. And are we staying even? Are we progressing? Or is it holding us back?
Well, I mean, you really stop and think about it. If the food industry would have its way, we would be eating all of their packaged box bag things. And we know what the effect that has on our bodies.
Yeah.
And is it also affecting our critical thinking? But that's a really thought-provoking title. Are we the last generation of wild humans?
Yeah.
And if somehow or another, you know, they would like us to think that wild foods or something we should be
one of the things this goes into is the
RFID, radio frequency ID chip, right?
And that they're starting to put these things on everything, and of course they've already got them in certain pills, so they know what you're taking. They also could identify certain limbs, like if you're getting a replacement limb.
Yeah, they're convincing people that in drugs they need it so they can make sure you're taking your proper dose. Does that make sense at all?
Well, from their perspective, it also, one of the things, of course, is let's get your child an RFD chip so you know exactly where they are, and if you don't, we do.
Yeah.
Even more dangerous, I guess, in a sense. So, I mean, these chips are definitely going to be coming. One of the things, I saw a podcast last year on food packaging, having the chips in and having a timer on them. So after you bought it, it gets the timer on there, and 60 days from now, you're going to get an email from the company saying, hey, you're just about to run out of this stuff. You better go to the store and get some more. By the way, here's a little coupon so you buy ours and not somebody else's, you know. So there's all kinds of technology that is entering the sphere that it's kind of scary. It can be used both ways. So you know, it's also always you're on that fence. Do we use it? Don't we use it? But
at the end of this article, it says today we see tiny drones which are being studied, shaped like mosquitoes or hummingbirds, combining tracking and biosensing data collection.
Yeah,
and we saw that picture.
Saw that picture last week of looked like a mosquito, and when you look at it carefully, you can see it's a mechanical mosquito that actually flies. It's in production now, and so small that you'd probably think it was a mosquito. And it can give you a little tap and give you an RFD chip, or it can also take a DNA sample from you and have that little lab sent the information out, or I guess it would have to go back. But these things are getting very small, and now they're going to really be entered into our whole environment. And that's another way.
What do you guys think of that? I don't know. I like studying what they did. You know, I like looking at history of food and what's going on. So.
Well, another thing, I mean, if you can have something that you can swallow and then have cameras going through your body to look at things, I mean, we're going to get a real perspective of what's going on there. Whether we figure out what it helps or not, I don't know. But certainly, we're living in an exciting age where these things that nobody has ever heard of before. Now people start thinking outside the box and say, "Hey, we can use it for this, we can use it for that," and so it can be really good. It can be something that's detrimental too. So.
Yeah, I tell you, that's something else. You know, I was looking over here, there's a little article, too, because a lot of people ask me, you know, what should I use on my skin? And we were just kind of talking about that with magnesium. You know, if you just remember, let your food be your medicine, and put your food on your skin.
I like
Solve
that.
a lot of problems, save money.
Yeah, sexy, too.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
Right. Okay, folks, that's the show today, and we'll be back next week with a brand new show and a brand new newsletter. So please pick up the Health Signals newsletter, and we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot.
Great weekend. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Friday.
Let me tell you something, folks. I have people coming up to me saying, I just can't believe the amount of work that Steve does on his newsletter. And I says, I absolutely agree.
That is a recent clip from the Money Masters show that Tom and I do each day at TFNN. My newsletter service, Mastering Probability, is much, much more than a newsletter. Yes, it's outperformed the S&P 500 by 100% during the last 15 months. But more importantly, it's an extraordinary education, the roadmap for your success. And it's yours risk-free for the next 30 days. Just go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, and then Mastering Probability, because everyone needs a success strategy. For most, it's a competitive edge, the will to win, the drive to overcome any obstacle. Whatever you call it, winners find a way. Find your way to Mastering Probability today, because your journey to extraordinary rewards is just one click away.